Peace everybody, this is All4Reborns, and right now we are about to mix our colors for our blushing. This is also going to be our lip color, and this is also going to be, if I can fit it in, a video with our vein color and our like a purple highlight I like to use too. So a book that's going to be helpful that I recommended that you get is the mixing color recipe book. And this is what I used when I first, obviously you can see all my paint splashes on it, when I first started painting, and I kind of have my recipes mixed up already. You know, I have them memorized, but I just read a lot on these pages here. This is on page 34. I don't know if they have a new edition or not, but 34 and 35, they just talk about different colors you can use in different tones of skin, like light skin, bronze skin, black to bronze skin, light bronze skin, and different color highlights, like all these different colors and ways that you can mix them. So it's really all about experimentation, but I wanted to show you guys this blush page. You see all my paint splashes on here once again, but this is on page 20, and these are all the different blushing colors that you can use. And I already have this one. This is the one I really want to use on this baby here. I've already used it on several babies. I have a little bit left, but this color came out so good. And so I'm going to try to get that same color. It's like sometimes I use a deeper version of pink, but this one is more like, I don't know, it's like a really soft pink, not too soft because it won't show on the vinyl. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to do the same kind of thing that we did before. I'm still using the Sure Fit Cure jars because they provide the air seal, which is just so perfect. I'm just going to rinse it out a little bit just to be sure that I don't have any lint or anything in there. And just leaving like a little quarter-sized amount of water on the bottom because it helps to stir the paint. So let me show you guys the color that I already made, because that's kind of what I'm aiming for. It's kind of hard to see in there, but it's like a pinky mauve kind of color. We'll see how we do. All right, so the color I'm going to start with is, actually I'm going to start with white. So this is just your regular mixing white, and we'll put two, let's try to get them nickel sized. Oh, that one came out really big. That's like a quarter-sized amount and that I put in there. So I think we're gonna stay with that. Yeah, let's just stick with that. A quarter-sized amount. I'm gonna leave it on the bottom so you can see my proportions. And the thing about this color, guys, is it's really experimentation. You just have to experiment, because I like to just add a little bit of the crimson at a time, because it comes out different for me every single time. So let's start out with like let me put this somewhere I can see it. Let's start out with our brush, and I'm using a size 16 brush, round brush to mix right now. And let's put just a little bit on the tip. This is like maybe a dime-sized amount, because when we mix it with the white, we just don't want to overdo it. And I hope I didn't put too much. I really hope I didn't. So let's go ahead and mix that up. Yeah, this looks good so far. Let me watch this video through the first time, because this is the color that, man, this color is just so critical to me, because it's the color that really brings the baby to life, especially on a Caucasian baby. This is the baby that, this is the color that really you start to just see life in the doll. So I really like to get it just right. So right now I'm just kind of, you can see how I'm using my brush to really get a nice blend of the white and the crimson together. So I'm just kind of going around on the bottom of my jar here. Getting all those chunks good. This is looking really good so far. Happy with that. So you get a nice little pink color. But we're going to deepen it up a little bit. There we go. So I want to darken it up a bit. And that's where the burnt umber is going to come into play. So I'm just going to scrape off the sides here. And I have this big, huge thing of burnt umber that I found on Amazon because I use so much of it that might as well have a big one, right? I think I'm going to rinse off my brush because I don't want to get the white and the crimson in my burnt umber. All right, let's just start with a little amount to experiment. Let's just do like a, let's see here. We don't want to do too much. We don't want to darken it up too much. So I'm just, sorry guys, I'm just putting a little bit on my brush, you know. And you can always start with a little and add more. It's easier to do that than it is to take away. I just kind of dipped my brush in it. It's not really even enough on my brush to talk about. And let's just put it in there and let's see what happens. Yeah, we're gonna need more. That's barely showing up at all. All right, let's try to get like half of a dime-sized amount. Try to actually scoop something up in there. I know I didn't clean off my brush that time. I'm being a little lazy. There we go. I should have cleaned it off though. All right, a little half a dime-sized amount there. Hope you guys can see it. There we go. You can see it now. All right, let's go in there with that. There we go, and just kind of dotting it down on the bottom. Waiting for my camera to focus. I want to make sure that you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. All right, let's just go ahead and blend that in there. Good. Good. Nice. Yeah, that kind of deepens it up a little. Good. It's turning it more like a mauve type color with that. I think that's as deep as I want to go with that color there. And that's a good mix. It just makes it a slight, very slight, takes away some of the brightness of the pink. Gives it a very light mauve coloring. Okay, so now let's compare the two colors. This one looks way more pinkish. I mean, yeah, this one looks way more pinkish than this one. So I'm gonna put a little bit more crimson in there. Hope it's not too confusing for you guys. So in the beginning, we put about a dime-sized amount. So I think I'm gonna try to add another little dime-sized amount. So when you make yours, keep that in mind so you don't have to restart like I do. But like I said, I always have to, when I make this color, I never do the same recipe twice. I don't know what it is about this color. So sometimes it's just like that with your mixes. It's hard to duplicate the same thing, you know, with your ratios. But I want to try to get as close as I can. This looks a whole lot closer. Yeah, that deepened up the color a lot. Yep. All right, so I'm comparing these two again. All right. And sometimes I will add a little dash of the aquamarine. It's like, no, ultramarine blue. I really wish I had that, but I think I'm out of it right now. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just add a little bit more of the burnt umber. But if you have the ultramarine blue, and you can just add, I mean, just the slightest amount. It doesn't take a lot. It's so strong. It's a very strong color. And you want to just add probably like, you could just dip your brush in it and that will be plenty. it's really easy to overdo the ultramarine. All right, so what I did right now was I just basically dipped my brown in there and kind of coated my brush with the same brown we used before, that burnt umber. And I'm going to go back in here and get another good mix, trying to tone down some of that pink. Yeah, there we go. Yes, there we go. That's it. Yay, this is so pretty now. Yay, I like it. All right, and keep in mind when we add water, it's gonna just make everything blend so beautifully. Yep, I like that. Really wish I had that ultramarine, but I must be out. So, but we'll make it work without it. All right, so now we're gonna do like we did before. With your blush, I like my blush to be creamy, like my flesh tone was. Even a little bit thicker, so not a lot of water. I'm just going to start out with about a quarter sized amount, and again, you can use a spoon if you would like to. So actually, I'm going to demonstrate that this time using a spoon. I'll use a teaspoon. That way you can kind of see what I mean by you can measure it. Like I'm just eyeballing it. So just kind of put a teaspoon of water in there. And just mix that up. And we want a thick consistency because it's not going to take a lot of layers of this at all. That's really good. Really, really, really good. That's pretty. Yep. Alright, so let's test the consistency by putting it up here along the edge. See how it runs down? It sticks, but it's a little runny. Try to clear some of this off so you can see it a little better. Alright, here we go. See, it sticks and it just runs really, really, really slow. In fact, it's not really running at all. Yeah, it's running super slow, but that's what you want. That's the consistency you want to go for. Right there. Alright, and that was with me just adding a teaspoon of water. Alright, so now I think that's pretty perfect. I'm going to go ahead and add my sealer. Okay, so this is my matte sealer that we used in the last video. Okay. So I'm just mixing it up like this. Remember I told you guys you don't want to shake it. It says gently stir on the bottle. So we're just going to flip it upside down like this a couple times. Alright, for this one, measuring out, we're going to do I'm going to use a plastic spoon. I don't want to use metal or any of my household stuff with it. So I'm just going to put a teaspoon and pour it right in there. Alright. Put it in my sink for now. And now we're going to mix slowly. And remember, you're going to give a slow stir on this one. You don't want to go vigorously stirring because that will definitely affect your consistency of your paint and the finish that you get on your baby. Yeah, that is such a beautiful color right there. I'm very, very, very happy with this color. If we would have put the ultramarine, it would have just given it a little bit of a purplish tint. So you can kind of see the difference between the two. This one has the ultramarine and this one doesn't. But that's okay because the baby who I'm actually making probably needs more of a pinkish tint than this one. So, and if you don't like it, you can always change it. All right, so let me rinse off my brush. Put that to the side. You know, I didn't show you guys the consistency after we added that. Let me show you again. Let me show you that. That's important. It will change your consistency and it'll still be thick, but it'll run a little bit more. Okay? Alright, so now let's rinse it off. Alright then. Alright guys, that's probably the hardest color in the mixing that there is to do. because you got to get that pink color right. Sometimes if you get it too bright, the doll looks really weird. If you get it too dark, the doll looks really weird. So it's all about experimentation. But the next two colors are easy, I promise. They're only involved mixing one color. So I used to mix this with two colors, but then I found that they have powder blue online. So I told you guys to order that. This is the powder blue. Go ahead. All we're going to do is mix it with water and matte sealer. I already have made my own. There it goes there. And that's what yours is going to look like. It's probably good that I'm remaking it because this jar isn't an air seal, a seal type one. So we're going to start out with about a quarter amount of this in there. Or you can use your measuring spoon. Put about a teaspoon. And just a household spoon, not a actual spoon, you know, actual measuring spoon. Alright, so we're going to take this and let's just put about a quarter amount size on the bottom. Size of a quarter. There we go. Pretty simple. Alright, now we're just going to mix that around with the water. Get it nice and mixed up. Such a pretty blue. I use this color to highlight, make thin layers of like folded, like thin layers of skin to make it look like thin skin, like between the eyebrows. I use it on the bottom of the feet to highlight the feet and give the feet more dimension. I also use this color for veins. Alright, that's perfect consistency right there. That's what you want right there. So that's how easy that is. So I'll show you the consistency already. It's kind of thick and creamy, but it does have some run to it. So it's more like the what we just made a minute ago with the blush, how it ended up. And now I'm going to add some matte sealer to it. Matte sealer's already mixed up. I'm not going to put nearly as much because my consistency is pretty close to where I want it to be. So I'm going to probably put about half of a teaspoon in there this time. Let's go ahead and dump it in there. And let's give it a mix. More like folding when you're baking or cooking, how you fold rather than vigorously stirring. Just getting it worked up in there. And with these paints, you should be able to make a few, like this should last you several dolls because it's not like you use this a lot on your dolls unless you like to use a lot of blue. I'll show you some other tricks that I use with my blue when we do another doll together because I do have other tricks. I don't paint each doll the same. Alright, so see that? That's the consistency you're going to want. Yeah, I probably have like 3 or 4 different ways of painting babies. So I like to mix it up, change it up for myself. Right now I'm just trying to teach you my basic techniques and ways. Sometimes I do have another blue that I use, but I'll show you that in a future lesson. Alright, and this last color is this pale violet. Isn't this so pretty? I just started using this in some recent babies, and I love the effect. I love the effect. So that's what we're going for. This consistency is really watery, and that's what we want. Because we just want a touch of this color on our baby. And the touch of this color is so powerful. Alright, so we've got our jar again. Let's go ahead and put a teaspoon amount of water in the bottom. And let's open up our purple, our pretty pale violet. Let's put about a quarter of size amount. See that in the bottom? And let's mix it up. So pretty. I love purple. It's so beautiful. And if you use that color recipes book, once you learn these techniques, you can come up with your own ways and like your own colors that you would like to see in a baby. One time I made a baby, I had mixed so many different colors. It looked like a painting. It was so pretty. Like when you were close up on him, you could just see so many different highlights and colors in the skin of the baby. Alright, so that's where we're at right now. Pretty much we got that same creamy consistency that we've had before. We want to add a little more water though. Do we? I don't know. Let me think about this. Yeah, let's add half a teaspoon of water. Let's see. About half a teaspoon. Not a lot. That was not half a teaspoon. There we go. Let's check that out. Yeah. Because I don't want it too thick. There we go. That's great. Alright, and let's go ahead and put some of the matte sealer in it. We'll put half a teaspoon of the matte sealer. Put it in here. There we go. And let's mix. Good. I know what happened with this other one, because I'm looking at my other purple and I'm going, wait a minute, this is way darker. But I think what I did is I probably mixed I mixed the burnt umber in it. I can tell, because look at that, two totally different purples. So if you want this deeper purple, look at that, it's totally different. Mix the burnt umber with it, just probably about a half of a quarter, so about a nickel sized amount. I would start with the dime size amount. If you're going for this color, mix it in there and you will get there. But yeah, I can definitely see it. I can even see it in the rim around the paint, and on the bottom here I can see, ooh, I'm dumping out my paint. Don't do that. Put the lid on it. So yeah, those are our colors though that we're gonna use for this baby. This darker color is more for my ethnic babies anyway. So when we do our ethnic tutorial, I will show you guys how to get that darker color. And also, if you have a reference photo that you're trying to work for with your baby, you may find that you want a darker color than what I have here, and that's fine too. But now I hope that you at least have some foundation in mixing the paints for your babies, because to me that's the trickiest part, and that's what makes a lot of people not want to try air dry paints, is mixing up the paint. You know, it's intimidating, but it's not hard, you know. Artists do it every day when they're working on a canvas, and there's really no right or wrong. Your colors may look different than mine, but if they're close, you should still get some really good results. And then as you develop your skill, like I said, you can go ahead and try to get different variations of the colors. But make sure that you have these two recipe books. These two recipe books are going to be very helpful for you because they have the recipe right below. 14 parts white to 1 part crimson would be that color. And so that's where I started. Alright, so I'm looking forward to hearing from you. So if you're my private student, make sure you're communicating with me by email as you go. This is self-paced, so as you go, email me and let me know what's working for you, and that will help me with these videos. Your feedback helps me as your teacher to be able to modify the lessons or explain something in more detail. And then also when we have our live session, I'll know what to work on with you. And if you're not my private student, I encourage you to be. But if you're learning on your own, I encourage you just to listen to the videos and buy more of the tutorials. If you've bought this as an individual video or you're my patron, watch more of the videos, because the more you hear things, the more you watch them, the more it's going to start to sink in. And, you know, don't just watch. Make sure you're actually painting and learning, because that's really where your real work happens, is on your canvas with your doll. That's really where you're going to learn the most. So anyway, guys, thank you. In the next video will be us we'll be finishing up the doll with the blush and the lips and all the details and the veining. So I will see you guys in that video. Peace and love.